world faces severe water shortages, which could unleash fierce dust storms, megafires, and locust plagues. And as water becomes scarce, disputes over this precious resource could lead to wars. For thousands of years, civilizations have grown and flourished on the nourishing banks of the world's great rivers. Today, their flows are controlled by people rather than nature. Large dams channel water for irrigation, hydroelectric power, and drinking water. But with less water, there's a growing potential for conflict.
Rivers are inherently an accident of geography when it comes to political borders. So upstream countries always have much more power over downstream countries. And that's what you see in the case of the Indus, that's what you see in the case of the Tigris and the Euphrates, that's what you see in the case of the Nile.
These tugs of water are already occurring, and it's taking huge diplomatic efforts to try and draw up treaties to set out how to share the remaining supplies.
Historically, nations have decided to cooperate over water rather than have tensions and conflict over it most of the time. But what concerns me now is that the past may not be a very good guide to the future.
The Himalayas. The glaciers from this mountain range provide 30% of the world's population with fresh water supplies. This is the source of some of the world's biggest rivers. The Ganges, the Indus, the Mekong, and the Yangtze. Scientists predict the Himalayan glaciers could disappear by 2035 as a warming planet leads to both evaporation and melting of the ice. Worse still, the monsoons, which bring 80% of the yearly rainfall to some nations, are failing to arrive, leading to a calamitous reduction in the flow of these rivers. One of the biggest political flashpoints is the Indus River.
The Indus essentially is the lifeblood of Pakistan. If it wasn't for the waters of the Indus and its tributaries, the country would essentially be a desert.
But Pakistan has no control over what happens to this vital resource upstream.
The big problem politically is that all of the headwaters of the Indus and its tributaries are in India, which is of course not exactly on friendly terms with Pakistan.
Experts forecast in desperate times, upstream nations will seek to secure their water supplies, building dams and leaving less for those downstream. Globally, 40% of big dam construction is happening in India. As the water runs out, this could spark conflict. It's 2025, and the Himalayan glaciers have retreated by 60%. For the third year running, the monsoons did not bring the nurturing rains, and 50 million people have left their farms as their crops die from lack of water.
As river flows diminish and livelihoods from the land are no longer possible, then people are going to have to up and move.
India begins to build a huge new dam. It is solving its problems at the expense of those downstream who struggle with less. It's a desperate situation, pitting one people's survival against another. Diplomatic attempts to reach a compromise break down. The world watches as a terrifying conflict erupts over a dam. Experts believe, in the future, water conflicts could be the trigger for wars. As water becomes scarce, it is a scenario that is all too possible. The Nile flows through 10 countries before it reaches Egypt. The Euphrates runs through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. The River Jordan is shared by Israel, Palestine, and Jordan. In the future, preventing disputes over water from boiling over will be a major diplomatic challenge.